Welcome to the Season 2 finale of Unlocked, an NAMFS podcast. In this week's episode, we're looking back at the 2026 conference, the conversations, connections, and key takeaways that brought our industry together. From collaboration across the industry parties to the value of being in the room, this episode captures what makes the conference such an important gathering for our industry. Let's get started.
Welcome to the final episode of Season 2 of Unlocked, a NAMFS Podcast. In this episode, we're reflecting on the 2026 conference, the conversations, connections, and key takeaways shaping the future of the mortgage field service industry. I'm Eric Miller, Executive Director of NAMFS, and now let's meet our guests.
I'm Mick Grossball, President of the Masters Builder, Inspection Vendor Regional based in Colorado.
Hi, my name is Teddy Jimenez. I am the VP of Operations of Louis Ferrer Inc., and we're local inspectors. We cover the state of Florida.
Hi, my name is Vicky Gomez. I'm a property preservation vendor, and we are located in New York.
Thanks, everybody, for taking the time. We're really excited. Mick, let's start off with you. What's one word that you have to describe, or phrase that you have to describe the conference?
Thanks, Eric. The theme of the conference was collaboration, and I thought that was very apropos, but the way I kind of felt about it was more of kind of convergence. In years past, it seemed like the different kind of different layers of the industry were really focused more on their own problems. This time I thought that all kind of layers were focused on problems we could solve together, and that the regionals were listening to the nationals, that were listening to the to the banks and the vendors, where we're all talking about, hey, how do we solve problems? It's always good to come together and talk about solutions about, hey, we can still give you what you want, but maybe if we do it a little bit different, it might be more efficient, or it might keep us safe. But so I would say for me, the word would be more convergence.
For me, the word if I have to describe the conference, would be networking with purpose, because that's what we do most. We network, and everybody's there with the same, for the same reason, and we all come together, and I think that's my favorite part of the conference.
Well, I have the same as Mike and Teddy. I will say that collaboration beats competition. And that's, I don't know if it's this new leadership, but that's what I felt in this conference.
Yeah, well, thank you. We really appreciate that. Yeah, we're looking to try and come up with more solutions-based. So it's great that you guys got that feeling by attending the conference. Teddy, let's go to the next question. What was the most valuable moment or conversation for you at the conference?
I believe that the most valuable was connecting with our servicers in the expo hall with exhibitors. For me, that is the moment that has more value, because it brings faces and names together. We're able to connect with them. We tell them what our problems, what our challenges are in the field, and we're able to connect in a different level, more casual, face-to-face, a little more relaxed, I would say. So that to me means everything.
Well, for me, it was the golf outing. Not really, because we can connect with business partners, other property preservation vendors from other state, inspectors, right? So, and we talk about the problems that we have in the field, but we feel related, like one to another.
I think for me, Eric, it was the conversation we were able to have with the servicers about kind of the challenges with no trespassing, when we were kind of talking about that, and have all levels in the room talk about, hey, these are the challenges that we're dealing with properties and access, and talk about solutions where the servicers are like, yes, we can provide you with documentation that would help. And that, especially for the areas that we cover, that's a major point for us, and a win to actually get that more of a conversation where people are aware of what's going on out there in the field.
Yeah, I think that's really what we really try and focus on is the networking opportunities, but also, those dialogues where you can come together and really kind of understand what each side of the equation is kind of dealing with. So we're definitely really excited about that. Looking to expand upon that, this year at our leadership summit, and then also for 2027. But don't want to take away from that just yet. Vicky, what's one takeaway that you got from the conference that you brought back to your team? Your vendor network, your office staff, whomever it is. What's one of those takeaways that you brought back?
There are many that I brought back. I took notes. I take notes from the panels, and then I send email to my team. Just summarizing. But one thing that this it was different, and I brought back and I comment is that I like the conversation that we are having now with NAMFS. You are asking, you are sending surveys, you are letting us know what you are doing. And then I told my vendors, like, you have to sign up, please, for the membership and actually interact, because they are asking, they are asking now for our opinion. So let's give them our opinion. That's what I thought that it was very interesting this year.
For me, it wasn't a specific thing. It's more optimism. Like, I was very excited and optimistic about, talking to people who see what's going on in the industry and are actually willing to make changes. And some of the conversations that we had about people realizing that some of the stuff that we've done before, we don't necessarily need to. And, of course, we're all excited about volume and kind of getting everything back to normal. So, but it was really refreshing to come back. And I was talking to folks, and I'm like, hey, people care about what we do. It is a valuable industry. We provide a valuable service. And there are actually people out there that cares. And it's just amazing. Everybody wants to do work that matters. And so just talking to my vendors and them realizing that what they're doing actually is making a difference was actually very, very good. So I would say optimism.
My main takeaway from the conference that I brought back was that we need to evolve. And we need to evolve with times. And we need to use new tools, new systems. We need to adapt with what's out there, what's trending. AI now is a big thing. So we need to, I was talking to my office staff, and we really need to be more with what's going on as far as technology goes, as far as communicating with vendors and clients. We need to find ways to continue evolving as a company and get with times.
Yeah, I think from our standpoint, I mean, even as we kind of alluded to, we've always kind of tried to hit with surveys, ask people questions, send people emails, those types of outlets. Obviously the podcast is a huge change for us. Getting different people involved, hearing other people's perspectives. That's really key for us. Like I talked about, we even have a TikTok account, which if you would have told me, when I came in several years ago that we'd have a TikTok account, I probably would have been a little bit odd, but it's a really amazing, like we showed in that one session, when you look at the interactions and how much they're up, it's just different ways of doing things. So that's a great takeaway. Mick, what's one major trend you think the industry needs to pay attention to right now?
I think the one major trend is, as we see AI and the technology start coming into the industry, I think that the danger is that we all want to use technology to, replace what we're doing. And I think that the major trend we need to focus on, though, is how can technology and AI make us more effective, not necessarily replace. And I just think that you can't ever replace actually having human eyes, human boots on the ground at a property and getting that assessment. There's just so many things. But I also think that there's a huge opening where we can use technology to make us more efficient, to make us better, to cross-check. My fear is that, I was alive during the dot-com bubble and everything else where, we see things go so far that it gets into trouble and then we have to kind of bring it back. So my response is that the trend is, I'm super excited about the technology and what's coming. I think that we just need to basically evaluate every step of the way and go, does this make us better or does this make us worse? So my fear is that we go too fast and we then have to backtrack rather than take a nice steady approach to it. But I think without question, one of the major trends has to be, the technology and what's changing so fast in our entire world, which of course will affect our industry.
One major trend that the industry needs to pay attention right now, it's we need to concentrate on safety out in the field. And we also need to concentrate on the pricing initiatives, continue working towards better and fair pricing for services so that we can continue providing the quality work that everyone deserves.
Well, I agree with Mick. I believe AI is now the major trend nowadays. I believe we have to be careful because it all depends on the data that we input. And if we input the wrong data, then that could be a disaster on our end and also on the servicer's end. So I think that's something for me.
Sure. Yeah, at the conference, obviously, we had the session was called "The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly," right, for AI.
Yeah.
And having been involved in many technology initiatives throughout the years, previous roles and things along those lines, you get bad data in, you're going to get bad data out, right? And Mick, I 100% agree with you. It's an augmentation of people actually being on the property. Certainly, how can I augment it? How can I give myself maybe some additional information to address what kind of Teddy said as it relates to safety in the field? There's tons and tons of data that's out there. How can we integrate that into systems so that people are aware prior to even showing up that there's been something that's out there, so that they're more aware. So I
Or
think
if
those
you're
are
seeing a real image, because nowadays you don't know if the image that you're seeing
Correct.
is real. Like,
that is
true.
I'm afraid of
true.
that.
We just need to be careful of that. So that is
Very.
true. That's true. So, Teddy, where do you see the biggest opportunity for alignment across servicers, vendors, inspectors, contractors, field people in the field?
I think that the biggest opportunity is better communication and transparency across all sides. And we need to be aware of expectations and be updated on the trends, on the new requirements. We just all need to communicate better.
Yeah, I think it's the same. It's just bridging the gap between servicers, teams in the field, property preservations, and inspector vendors. Yeah.
I actually thought this was a great topic, and we talked about it a lot there, but efficiency. I think Kelly actually had some really good points where we were talking about some of the things that are in the inspection industry and the preservation that are basically legacy, where we've always done them, so we always do them. And the question now is, do we still need to be doing things that we did 20 or 25 years ago, because the challenges are totally different? So some of those legacy processes that we still have, making those more efficient, as we have the technology that kind of takes some of that out. And I think efficiency is a major deal, because like you were talking about, Eric, with good information in, good information out, so to keep the vendors in the field with, hey, let's focus on the main issues. There's issues that you don't necessarily need. And same thing all the way up to the servicers. If it's not actionable information, then why are we collecting it? Why are we wasting the time? Why are we wasting the space to store it? So basically, let's focus on the majors and get back to doing what our industry does really, really well. And that is preserve properties, preserve assets, so that investors are taken care of, people are taken care of, and we provide work. So I think that efficiency is the biggest area of alignment. And again, it was touched on in several different sessions. And it was really interesting to see some of the people asking. They're like, well, yeah, why are we asking some of these questions? Why are we asking the same question multiple times in some of these things? So I think that efficiency, we always, there's several parts to the cost conversation. So it's like, well, can we make it more efficient so we're not having to do as much work, spend as much time, do that? And so we can approach it from several different angles. I think that no specific angle is going to solve it all. So that's why we need the alignment through all the different levels, through the servicers to the nationals, all the way down to the boots on the ground. But I think that is the biggest area of alignment that we have going forward.
What would you tell someone considering the 2027 NAMFS conference? It's going to be next May, 2nd through 4th, in Dallas again. But what's one thing you would tell someone who is considering attending?
I will say to go. I believe that's the place where we can have the conversations that we need to have. That's very important. Also, we all are business owners, right? So we need to go and get out there and ask our clients what are the challenges, what do they need. So when we know, we can serve them better, and not just that. I think it's the place right now, NAMS, where our industry is being reimagined because they you guys are listening to us, what we need, our challenges, what need to change. So I think it's great. The networking is great. We have so much fun. I have
Yes, we
pictures
do.
I cannot show.
First, I would say, our industry is fairly specialized. You don't go down the street and just run into people who do what we do. So to actually be around other people who know what you're talking about and have shared the same kind of battles, it's kind of tough to find a room like that. But NAMFS provides a really good job where you can come and do that. And then second, I would say, my dad always used to tell me, if you can learn from someone else's mistake, that's wisdom. If you learn from your own mistake, that's experience. So come down, listen to the stories, listen to what people are doing, make you and make your company better, and then come share your experiences. Make us better as well, because we will be better with your experience.
Well, I will absolutely tell them to attend. I am one of the biggest NAMFS supporters and cheerleaders. I been attending NAMFS conferences since I started in 2009. I started in the industry. It's been 17 years now. And I find so much value in the networking events, in the conversations that we have with servicers, with colleagues, just even in the hallways, talking to people outside the sessions. And for me, it's one of the most enriching experiences about that. And I look forward to it every year. I really do.
With that wraps up our conversation on the 2026 NAMFS conference. Again, a big thank you to everyone who attended, in addition to our guests here who shared their perspectives. Like I said, this concludes season 2 of the Unlocked podcast, and we're looking forward to starting season 3 in September. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you for watching or listening to Unlocked, an NAMFS podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. We will be back soon with another season of conversations in the field services and asset management industries.